In the heart of downtown Los Angeles, just a few blocks from the glitter of the fashion district and the pulse of Skid Row, stands a building with a reputation steeped in mystery, tragedy, and fear. The Cecil Hotel opened its doors in 1927, an ornate, ambitious hotel meant to welcome traveling businessmen and Hollywood hopefuls. But the golden era didn't last long. As the Great Depression hit and the neighborhood around it declined, the Cecil's guests began to change. By the 1940s and 50s, the hotel had gained a darker nickname, the Suicide Hotel. Over the decades, it became associated with a string of violent deaths, suicides, and unexplained events. It was also briefly home to two serial killers, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger, who killed women while living there in the early 1990s. Time and again, tragedy seemed drawn to the Cecil's walls. In an effort to distance itself from this reputation, the hotel was partially rebranded in the 2010s as Stay on Main, a more modern and affordable option marketed to young travelers and tourists. But the bones of the building, the dark past, remained. And in 2013, that darkness surfaced again. A young woman named Elisa Lam checked in for what was supposed to be a short stay. She never checked out. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old student from Vancouver, Canada. Bright, curious, and full of creative energy, she was on a solo trip through California. Like many young travelers, she documented her journey online, posting updates and thoughts on her Tumblr blog. On January 26th, she checked into the Cecil Hotel. It was just another stop on her adventure. But 5 days later, on January 31st, she vanished. Her belongings were still in her room. There was no sign of forced entry. No witnesses. Her family, unable to reach her, grew increasingly concerned. The Los Angeles Police Department began searching for her. Posters went up. Detectives combed the hotel. For 2 weeks, there was nothing. Then, the LAPD released surveillance footage from the hotel's elevator. What it showed shocked the world. In the video, Elisa steps into the elevator and presses several buttons. But something's off. The doors don't close. She peeks into the hallway, steps in and out, presses herself against the walls, makes strange gestures with her hands, almost like she's speaking to someone only she can see. And then she's gone. The internet erupted with speculation. Was she being followed? Was she playing a game? Was this a mental health crisis? The answer wouldn't come until February 19th, nearly 3 weeks after Elisa had disappeared, when hotel guests began complaining about the water. It was coming out dark, tasting strange, and the pressure was unusually low. Hotel maintenance staff were dispatched to the roof to inspect the water tanks. What they found was horrifying. Inside one of the tanks was the naked body of Elisa Lam. Her clothes were floating nearby. The lid of the tank had been closed. The tanks themselves were 10 feet tall and difficult to access. To get in, Elisa would have had to climb a platform, lift a heavy lid, and descend into the dark, cold water. There were no ladders inside the tank. No way to get back out. The coroner's report ruled her death an accidental drowning. There were no signs of trauma, no evidence of sexual assault or foul play. Toxicology results showed Elisa had not taken her full prescribed dosage of medication for her bipolar disorder, something her family later confirmed was an ongoing struggle. But despite the official conclusion, questions persisted. How did she reach the locked rooftop without triggering any alarms? How did she lift the heavy tank lid? And why was she acting so strangely in the elevator? Several theories emerged. The most accepted explanation is that Elisa had a psychotic episode. Her bipolar disorder was well documented, and missing medication can lead to paranoia, hallucinations, and disorientation. Her behavior in the elevator could have been a result of delusions or anxiety. It's possible she climbed to the roof, perhaps through an unsecured emergency exit, and entered the tank in a confused or frightened state, either to hide or simply not realizing the danger. But others believe something else happened. Some believe Elisa was influenced by something supernatural. The Cecil Hotel has long been rumored to be haunted. It was the residence of serial killers, the site of multiple suicides, and has a long legacy of death and decay. Paranormal enthusiasts point to the eerie elevator footage, saying her gestures resemble ritual movements, perhaps an attempt to communicate with something unseen. One particularly chilling theory suggests she was playing what's known as the Korean elevator game, an urban legend claiming that pressing elevator buttons in a specific sequence can transport you to another world. Watching Elisa press multiple buttons and step in and out of the elevator without a clear purpose has led many to connect the two. Of course, there's no evidence to support these supernatural claims, but in a place like the Cecil Hotel, already steeped in fear and mystery, it's easy to see why the imagination runs wild. What really happened to Elisa Lam may never be known. Whether it was the result of mental illness, a tragic accident, or something more sinister, her story continues to haunt the public imagination. Her final moments, captured in grainy footage, playing out in an empty elevator, have become an enduring mystery. And in the halls of the Cecil Hotel, her presence still lingers. Not just as a memory, but as a question we may never fully answer.